Take a deep, slow breath in. Let your shoulders soften and fall. Allow the noise of the outside world to fade for a few minutes. Right now, nothing matters but this moment and what you're about to hear. Because this isn't just another video about manifesting money. This is a reset, a shift, and if you're open, it could completely change the way you experience wealth. Not in a year, not in a month, but in just 2 days or less. Yes, 2 days. No endless rituals, no complicated plans, no chasing or grinding. Just one powerful shift. And it starts right here. You didn't find this by accident. You're not here because you were randomly scrolling. You're here because a deeper part of you, the real you, is ready. Ready to stop waiting. Ready to stop chasing. Ready to step into the life that was always meant to flow effortlessly to you. What if I told you that unexpected wealth doesn't come from chance, and it doesn't come from struggle, but from assumption? That you don't have to run after money anymore? You have to accept it. You have to claim it. And the only thing standing between you and it is the feeling you are living in right now. That's where everything begins. Neville Goddard revealed a truth the world still struggles to fully understand. Feeling is the secret. Not repetition, not effort, not grinding yourself into the ground. Feeling, the emotional state you consistently occupy, becomes the blueprint that reality must mirror back to you. Not because it's magic, because it's law. And when it comes to wealth, most people are doing everything except feeling wealthy. They visualize, they script, they speak about abundance, but underneath the surface, they're still checking their bank account, still measuring their progress, still waiting for evidence before they allow themselves to feel different. And here's the paradox. You can't wait to feel rich. You have to feel rich first, and let the numbers catch up afterward. You don't attract large sums of money by staring at your bank balance. You attract it by stepping into the version of you who already has it. Now. That's what this is about. And that's why it doesn't take a year or even a month. 2 days is enough. Enough to stop leaking your energy. Enough to stop asking, when will it happen? Enough to assume a new identity so clearly that the world has no choice but to reflect it. And yes, unexpected wealth can show up. A refund you didn't expect. A deposit you weren't waiting for. A new client. An email that shifts everything. A door opening where you thought there was none. But that's not your job. Your job is to send the right signal. First, the signal you're about to send is simple. Say this to yourself now. I am ready to win big in life. Go ahead and write it down in the comments. Sometimes when you put it into words, it becomes more real, like pressing your new truth into the structure of reality itself, just for you. Because here's what we're about to do together. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to guide you through an exact process. A 2-day method, rooted deeply in Neville Goddard's teachings. Not based on luck, not based on guessing, but built on law, on cause and effect. On the principle that the feeling you assume now is the world you walk into next. So let's begin with day 1. Day 1, the assumption of already done. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, you have one assignment. Feel as if the wealth you desire has already arrived. That's it. No perfect scripting, no fighting your mind, no needing to find the perfect feeling. Just this. Relax and allow yourself to rest inside the assumption that it's already yours. Because when you drift into sleep, your conscious mind fades, and the subconscious, the creative mind, becomes wide open. Neville called this space the gateway, the doorway through which new realities are planted. And the feeling you impress in that moment? It becomes instruction. It becomes the pattern reality must follow. So tonight, as you lie in bed, don't fall asleep carrying worry. Don't let your final thoughts be about bills, debts, or timelines. Instead, surrender all of that. Set it down. Tonight is for wealth. Tonight is for anchoring the version of you who already lives inside abundance. Picture this with me now. You're lying in your bed. The lights are off. Silence wraps around you. Your breathing slows. And instead of replaying old thoughts, you gently drift into something new. You imagine logging into your account and smiling, receiving a text, just sent you something, check your balance, an unexpected message, an unexpected opportunity, a feeling that you're supported beyond what you can see. But you don't just watch the scene, you enter it, you become it, feel it in your body. What happens to your chest when you know you're supported? How does your breathing shift when wealth feels normal? What does your heart do when you realize it's already here? You don't rush this. You don't force it. You simply let yourself settle into it, like slipping into warm water. And if your mind wanders, because it might, you don't get frustrated. You don't push harder. You just return. Gently, lovingly, back to the feeling. Back to the version of you who is already supported, already secure, already thriving. Neville said, "Your assumption, though false in the beginning, if persisted in, will harden into fact." This is what he meant. You're not waiting anymore. You're not hoping anymore. You are becoming, right now. You fall asleep, not as someone asking for a miracle, but as someone who has already received it. Because once the subconscious accepts the new feeling, the outer world must obey. And if this spoke to you, if you feel something inside you nodding, recognizing this truth, go ahead and subscribe. Not for me, for you. So you stay connected to the content that keeps you grounded, steady, and aligned with the version of you that's already winning big. Because tonight, you made a choice. You didn't just hope for a better life, you entered it. You assumed it. And from here, everything changes. Day 2. The identity shift. This is where the real shift deepens. Last night, you planted the feeling. You fell asleep not hoping, but embodying. You breathed in the energy of already having. And now, today, a part of you might want to snap back to old habits. You might feel tempted to check your bank account, to scan your inbox, to look around and ask, did it happen yet? But you won't. Because that's not who you are anymore. You are no longer the version of yourself that waits for proof. You are not the person who needs outer confirmation to feel inner security. You are becoming something entirely new. Someone who already knows. And that is the real work of day 2. Today is not about forcing a high vibration. It's not about repeating affirmations all day long. It's not about chasing evidence. Today is about loyalty. Loyalty to the identity you chose last night. The identity of, I am ready to win big in life. And this version of you? They don't rush. They don't doubt. They don't anxiously look for signs. They move with quiet confidence. They breathe deeper. They expect good news without desperation. They treat wealth like it's normal, natural, inevitable. So today, every little action becomes an opportunity to affirm, I'm already living it. When you pay for your coffee, you pay like someone who's supported. When you check your inbox, you expect abundance to find you. When you think about the future, you feel ease, not dread. It's these tiny, quiet decisions that anchor the new you. Not intensity, not perfection. Presence. Again and again, returning to the feeling. Returning to the identity. Until it stops feeling like practice and starts feeling like your new home. And yes, doubts might come up. That's normal. That's okay. When the old thoughts rise, you don't panic. You don't crumble. You don't explain yourself. You pause. You breathe. You return. Each return is not a setback. Each return is reinforcement. It's you choosing the new world again, and again, and again. And that's what makes the change permanent. Because it's not the big emotional moments that transform you most. It's the tiny, consistent ones. Choosing peace instead of panic. Choosing trust instead of urgency. Choosing to feel supported even before it shows up on paper. That's wealth. That's real identity work. And if this resonates with you, if you can feel yourself stepping into that new space, go ahead and subscribe. Not for me. For you. To stay connected to reminders that keep you steady, focused, and aligned with your bigger life. Because you're not waiting anymore. You're already living it. Now for many of you, 2 days will be all it takes. You'll feel something shift. You'll wake up lighter. You'll get a message. You'll see movement. Maybe small, maybe big, but enough to confirm something's happening. A refund comes in. An idea clicks. A payment shows up. You feel supported. But, for others, the shift happens internally, and yet nothing seems to happen on the outside. That's where most people get it wrong. They panic. They say, I did everything. I felt it. I believed. Why hasn't it shown up? But what they don't realize is, the moment you assume the new state, the old one begins to dissolve. It doesn't always crumble loudly. Sometimes it breaks quietly, piece by piece. And in those quiet hours after your assumption, your reality starts reorganizing. Not visibly at first, but energetically. That's why day 3 can feel strange. You might feel the urge to check your account. You might hear that old voice whispering, still nothing. Still no sign. Maybe it didn't work. But that voice isn't truth. It's residue. It's the echo of the you that needed proof to feel safe. It's the last flicker of the version that waited on the world before giving yourself permission to believe. And now, you're not doing that anymore. You're no longer leading from fear. You're leading from identity. So if day 3 comes and the world still looks the same, don't start over. Don't fall into doubt. You haven't failed. You've entered the test of appearances. Neville said, do not judge by appearances. Persist in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. That's what this looks like. You wake up, you feel a flicker of doubt. But instead of spiraling, you return. Not out of fear, but out of loyalty. You're not begging anymore. You're not hoping, you're being. Because even if the outer world hasn't shifted yet, you have. And that is the real trigger. That's the turning point. When the inner state becomes more real to you than the outside facts, the facts have no choice but to change. Not from effort, not from pressure, but from resonance. So, what do you do on this extra day? This space between the assumption and the manifestation. You stay steady. You hold the same posture. You walk with the same calm. You speak with the same quiet confidence. You treat this day not as a delay, but as a confirmation. Because this pause, it's not punishment, it's not resistance, it's realignment. It's your old story making room for the new one to take root. And if that feels hard, you're not doing anything wrong. You're doing it exactly right. Most people break here. They say, I followed all the steps. Why isn't it here? And what they don't realize is, it already arrived, just not in the way they expected. Because the moment you fully assume a new identity, your old identity starts to fall apart. Not instantly, not always visibly, but silently, from the inside out. So, yes, on day 3, things might feel wobbly. You may feel the urge to refresh your bank app. You might want to search for proof. You might feel an old panic rise. But now you know better. You hear the voice, but you don't believe it. You notice the old pattern, but you don't feed it. Instead, you lead. You walk forward with trust. You breathe deeper, even if nothing outside has changed. That's power. That's alignment. That's what separates the ones who try from the ones who transform. So, if day 3 feels slow, take a walk and imagine what it's like to live already supported. Close your eyes for 30 seconds and breathe like someone who's already won. Pay a bill and whisper, more is already on the way. And if the old story rises and tries to grab the mic, you nod, smile, and gently say, thanks for your input, but I already have it. Because this is when the new identity settles in. Not just something you visit, but something you live in. Day 3 isn't about doubt or delay. It's the day the old you quietly fades and the new you begins to lead. And when you hold that energy, even a little longer than you normally would, something clicks, something opens. So if this part is landing for you, if you feel something new building inside you, go ahead and subscribe. not out of habit, but as a quiet decision to keep this space alive for yourself. A space that reminds you of the version of you who's already living it. Because you are. Now something subtle begins to shift in you. Not fireworks, not loud, but real, quiet, steady. You're not trying to manifest anymore. You're not begging the universe. You're not asking when or how. You're just living. You're moving through your day like someone who already has what they once asked for. You've crossed into a new frequency, and everything else is now catching up to you. This is what Neville meant when he said, "Claim yourself to be that which you desire to be, and that you shall be." Not try to become it. Not hope to be it. Claim it, and then walk in it. So from this point on, you don't keep checking. You don't measure your progress like it's a race. You don't wait for something to appear to feel whole. Because now, it's identity. It's not something outside of you. It's who you are. You start speaking differently. You carry yourself with ease. You respond to things in a calmer tone. Even your thoughts change. You stop thinking of money as something out there. You stop using words like, "I hope this works. I'm trying to attract it." You begin to say, "I already have it," even before it shows up. Because the external proof? That's just the echo. The truth is the feeling. And the feeling, that's your only job. You're no longer reacting to lack. You're not feeding worry when a bill comes. You're not chasing security. You breathe. You bless the bill. You smile at the challenge. Because something in you knows, this is already handled. I am already supported. This is already mine. And no, that's not arrogance. That's alignment. That's what happens when you stop treating wealth like a stranger and start treating it like a friend. You expect it. You make space for it. You welcome it home. This is what most people miss. The biggest shifts don't happen in loud, dramatic moments. They happen in the quiet decisions, the invisible alignments. Not when you shout affirmations at the sky, but when you say nothing and feel everything. That is receiving. It's easy to confuse receiving with waiting, but they are not the same. Waiting is tense. Waiting has fear. Waiting says, "It's not here yet." Receiving is trust. Receiving says, "I've already opened the door." It rests. It breathes. It lets it in. You're not checking the mailbox every hour. You're not refreshing your bank app 12 times a day. You've moved past need. You've stepped into knowing. Because now, wealth doesn't define you. You define the wealth. You set the tone. You carry the frequency. You walk in the energy of someone who knows it's done. And if there are moments where you still feel like checking, that's okay. Just become aware. Notice where you're still chasing, where you're still doubting, not to judge, just to return. Back to the breath, back to the body, back to the version of you who is already supported. That's all you ever need to do. You don't have to say it all day. You just need to feel it more often than you feel fear. That's the shift. That's the practice. That's what makes the results real. Because Neville didn't teach you to hustle. He didn't say, "Go out and force it." He said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and persist in that assumption until it hardens into fact." And that's where you are now. You've done the feeling. You've lived the identity. You've walked past the test. Now you persist. Not with effort, but with presence. You don't grip. You don't force. You don't need to try harder. You hold the feeling, lightly, loyally. You let it settle in as your new home. You let it breathe inside you until it feels so natural, so normal, that even if nothing shows up today, you don't flinch. Because you know it's already unfolding. You know it's already done. And in that moment, when you no longer need it to show up in order to feel complete, that's when it arrives. Quietly, smoothly, right on time. Because now, you're not attracting from lack. You're radiating from identity. You've become the version of you who receives. And once that feeling becomes your default, once it's no longer something you visit, but something you live in, the outer world must catch up. It's not magic, it's law. So from here forward, walk like the version of you who's already wealthy. Speak like someone who's already chosen. Rest in the energy of already done. Because when you do, the money shows up. The opportunity arrives. The support finds you. Not because you begged for it, but because you became the one who receives it. That's the power of assumption. That's the path to unexpected wealth. That's the truth Neville was always pointing to. So if this stirred something real in you, if it clicked somewhere deep and you just know this is mine, let it be more than a video. Let it be a shift. Let it become your new standard. Start living from it. Start assuming it. Start anchoring in that quiet, powerful knowing every single day. And when you feel like sharing it with the world, just write it below. I am ready to win big in life. No pressure, no hype, just a moment between you and the truth. So, when the world still looks the same, when the results haven't shown up yet, when your bank account doesn't reflect what you've assumed, you don't react. You remember. You return. Because you know how this works now. You don't live by sight. You live by state. You walk through your day as if the doors are already open. You move through conversations like someone who has already been chosen. You say yes to opportunities, not because you need them, but because you recognize they're a match for the version of you you've already become. Even in silence, even when nothing loud is happening, you trust the shift. Because you're no longer performing for the universe. You're no longer proving your worth to anything. You're living from it. This is the true power of assumption. It's not loud. It's not desperate. It's steady. And when you get here, when you no longer need to be convinced that it's working, it shows up. Easily, softly, sometimes all at once. You stop chasing. You start magnetizing. And the longer you hold the feeling, the more real it becomes. Not in some far-off moment, but right now. Here. In the breath you're taking. In the choice you're making. So let this be the moment you shift permanently. Not because of what you heard, but because of what you chose to feel. Let this be the moment where you no longer ask for signs, because you've already decided. Thank you for watching. Thank you for remembering. And most of all, thank you for choosing to be who you really are. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.